So I just showed up. I wasn't planning on telling a story. I'm here with a friend who I am super excited for you guys to hear from, and she hasn't told a story yet. She's amazing and awesome. But I said I would tell a story, so I'm just going to tell one, and here it goes. This breaks another rule because it mostly didn't happen to me, but it's one of my favorite stories, so I'm going to tell it. So this has to do with one of my siblings, and maybe the strange coincidence is that me and my siblings share any parents at all. All of my siblings are half-siblings, and we couldn't have gone in more opposite directions. My one sister, who's the youngest of the others, I'm the baby, she lives in New Jersey. Her husband's a cop. She's really excited about being from New Jersey. She sells insurance, and she's really happy to have a baby and live that life. My brother, who's the oldest, he runs his own extermination business and moved to Tennessee. And he moved there when he was 18 and came back 2 years later with a super thick Southern accent that he cannot hear. He used to be like, hey, how you doing? Super Jersey. And then he came back hey, how y'all doing? And he just can't hear it. It's really weird. And then my other sister lives in Delaware, where she's a personal fitness trainer, but on the side, she lives with her personal spiritual guru, whose new age music career she manages on the side. But anyway, this story is about my brother, and guys, have a hard time kind of connecting and talking to each other and sharing, I think, feelings with each other, and on a rare occasion, my brother and I got to have a nice heart-to-heart, and he's updating me on his life, and he's in town, and he's telling me about his business. I'm like, oh, how are things going? And he was just like, things are going well. I got these great guys work for me, And I'm kind of starting to see that, my brother's a hard personality to deal with, and I always kind of wonder what it'd be like to work with him. And it's kind of funny. One example, I'll say, he was like, yeah, I got this one guy, he's working for me, and really nice guy, really hard worker, but then I figured out the son of a bitch can't read, And I was like, oh, that's a shame. He's like, so I decided, I'm going to support him, I'm going to help him out, and I'm going to pay for him to go back to school so he can learn to read. I was like, Dave, that's really sweet, that's really great. But here's how he decides to be supportive and to tell the guy. He was like, what are you, stupid? You can't read? You want everyone to think you're stupid? You got to go back to school. What are you, an idiot? Everyone's going to think you're an idiot if you don't go back to school. What the is your problem? Get back to school. And I was like, well, I think that was nice. I mean, in theory, but I don't think the execution was maybe exactly what was called for. But my brother has this kind of tough love philosophy. And so one of the next things he was telling me, he's like, by the way, all the guys that work for my brother have been to prison at some point. And he's like, yeah, if you ain't even been to prison, if you don't have prison on your resume, I don't even want to talk to you. And I was like, Dave, that's really nice, because people, they go to prison. My brother spent some time in prison. And I'm like, that's really nice, because people get out of prison, it's really hard for them to get a job, nobody wants to hire them, and it's really nice that you would kind of give back to people in your position. And, but then I also kind of realized that he likes to kind of rule his guys with this iron, prison rule fist, and that's the kind of people that respond to that. So then he's telling me about this other situation where he had this new client that he was really nervous about, this really rich, well-to-do family, and they got this big job to spray their house for termites, a big thing, huge house, and he's really nervous about making a good impression. He tells the guy, this guy's got to be good, it's going to be a real big deal. He goes to them with the site in the morning, he's like, this is where it's going to be, walks them around, and then he leaves, they do the job, and then he comes to check on the house on the way back. And he walks around, the guys had already left, and he looks down on the ground, and he sees this funny little, knick-knack, this kind of fancy-looking, statuesque thing, whatever, that he'd seen in the house earlier, that's now on the ground. And he looks at it, and he's like, what the f***? He goes, he gets in his car, goes to work. Next morning, calls everybody into his office, and he goes, if someone doesn't tell me how that thing got from inside the house to the front yard, everyone's fired, including the secretary, and slams his door and goes into his office. Then he starts making really loud phone calls, telling people that he's looking for a whole new crew. I don't know who you call to get an entire new extermination group. He's making calls so they can hear him, and they know he's serious. So then this one guy, this small guy who's kind of new, and he comes in, he was like, look, I just wanted to let you know that it was me. It was my fault. I took it out of the house. I dropped it. I shouldn't have done it, but I took it from the house, and it was me. And I was like, okay. And then he calls in this guy who was like the foreman of this big guy. The big guy walks in, and he's like, I just want to let you know who in your crew was trying to steal. He's like, I thought you should know. He's like, okay. And then he goes to the big guy, he goes, no, I want you to punch him in the face. And he's like, what? He was like, I can't think. He goes, punch him in the face, or you're fired. And he was just like, you can't, like, come on, don't make me punch this guy in the face. I can't just, I can't just do that to this guy who, like, I barely know. And he goes, punch him in the face, or you're fired, but if you do it, I'll give you an extra $100 in your paycheck this week. And eventually, after a while, the guy was like, I'm sorry, man, I gotta punch you in the face, and my hands are tied, I'm sorry. And he does it. He knocks the guy down to the ground in one punch. The guy kind of like comes to him, my brother leans over and he goes, all right, now you're fired, get out. That's where I'm at. And I was just like, Dave, I was like, you can't do shit like that. I was just like, you are so lucky. You are so lucky that I was like, you're still on probation. You are so lucky that this guy doesn't know that he can just go to the police and tell them, like, hey, this guy's being like, that's illegal. And he was like, no, I took care of that. I told him, I was like, if you go to the police, I'm going to give this guy $100 every single day to come find you wherever you are and punch you in the face every single day if you go to the police. And then he said, you don't think I'm a bad guy, do you? I said, no. I love you. You're my brother. Yeah.